Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, it's Regit, and as we return to a classic today, there is some new information very subtly put to us. I think Battle Cats might be 5 years old. Now, in truth, this is a lovely display. Nice little glasses with a little animation on the cat, that's nice. Bobbing up and down very readily now. Nice balloon designs in the background that I think, especially behind menus such as these ones, fall behind actually very well in a way that makes the menus obvious and makes the designs obvious as well, and they work together very well, including the rest of the designs and banners behind the puts and user rank menu. Really rather nice. But at the moment, there are conflicting interests. There's birthday present on, which is just a little thing, isn't it, I think? So the interest, at least for now, is the return of King Wahwah. Now, I don't know if I can actually yet call this a classic. I don't remember how recent Wahwah was, but it wasn't as long ago as some of them. But it's a return, so I guess it is a return of a relatively recent classic. And I like returns, I like coming back to things. Wahwah wasn't the most fun I've ever had, but that's probably because I really struggled. But it'll be interesting to see in what ways I struggle with this new version of the stage. Revenge of N1, the level is called. I was rather hoping it would be called something like Singapore Grand Prix, but I assume it's not Grand Prix in the same sense. You can let me know if you know. What are the conditions? Oh, wow, okay. We're to a rarity that has a lot of useful stuff in it, but only super rare. Okay, I am interested to see what I come up with and sort of slightly worried, as you should probably be as well. Okay, after much deliberation, this is what is here. I say deliberation because actually I've realised I love a lot of the super rare units. I think if it was any rarity to have only that, super rare is the one that I'd choose. So there was some umming and ahhing to put forward whatever on earth this is. So, 2 meat shields, both as you probably would expect of the manic variety. Then, manic macho legs. If I remember correctly, and these first stages are always the original stage, but with restrictions, in this case, restrictions in a different sense, there are peons, plenty of them, that make it more difficult than just stacking a load of meat shields up against Wahwah. Manic macho legs hopefully clears them out. For that, also picking off, I've got bullet train for any alien ones, seafarer for any zombie ones, housewife, generally tanky, manic island, half the solution to everything as much as we can manage here. Fast damage, fishman, and maintained, hopefully, damage from further away, cyberpunk, the only traditionally uber-like unit that we have within the super rares. As for the cannon, freezing Wahwah might be the best idea, just stopping him straight in his tracks so that we can get some damage off, especially with something like fishman. But as we know, this is the theory, and the practice rarely goes quite so well. Crikey, no boss wave even, Wahwah is already there, and I was right about meat shields. Well, that's a good start. At least I can actually use my own meat shields for this. So we got manic erasers out and a manic macho legs. Gonna try and keep the worker cat up in this instance. And oh, run out of meat shields very quickly there. We got a wave off where we needed to. Manic macho legs remains alive. I just need to remember to actually keep putting this out, and the distance we had is gone anyway. Zombies are indeed here. Okay, remembering more of this than I dared expect I would. Bullet train cat out as well. Managed to get a little snipe on the zombie doge. Good news. Less good news is that every meat shield I put out is getting almost immediately decimated, and that is a huge issue for stoppage of Wahwah. Of course, in this current state, cannoning is going to go for what's nearest to us, roughly, and that will be overwhelmingly likely, at least, to be the peons and not Wahwah itself. So we need to be keeping these back to roughly the same place as Wahwah to have a good impact with that cannon. But I was hoping to chip off some damage on Wahwah. That would be ideal. There we go, good! Oh, excellent! Yes, Maglev! Ho, ho, ho. As far as I know, that's a damage knockback. What I don't know is how many damage knockbacks it has, and by the fact that it's basically one chomp at a time to get a damage knockback off, I'm not too hopeful as of the genuine importance of having done a damage knockback. There we go, there's another one, and a Zangru, quite terrifyingly. Maglev gets another lovely hit. Let's wait for it to re-burrow. Please don't. No, that's like the opposite of good. Really shouldn't have done it. Oh, you irritating man. Well, zombies, as they tend to do, have decided to back up burrow in the worst possible place, decimating my cyberpunk. I'm holding my hands to my head in despair. There's another damage knockback on Wahwah, but at this time, it just completely discredits the usefulness of them. I mean, how many I'm going to need, I do not know. Wahwah remains. There's an otter there. Can we get in before that last attack? Yeah, we do. We get another chip off. Would be useful useful for, I guess, another maglev to start off the damage on the otter. It's actually going to really melt my fishermen before they can get up and kill it. But no, actually, damage enough is done. And plenty of islands, all of these nice tanky super rares, knocking it back again. We are on the right side of the battle now. The preferable, less my base is in danger side. And, you know, if we've only got to 90% because they're like 1% knockbacks, at least we're doing it on your end of the base, eh? In fact, we've now actually got to a point of knocking back Wahwah where it can't go back any further, which is the old trope of, like, was it Last Gang and that sort of thing, killing off Nyandam really efficiently by just not letting it move forward and continually knocking it back against the back of the base. This is hopefully what we can achieve now and even begin to clip through it if it doesn't kill us. And there we go! We've killed it anyway! Hole in one, ladies and gentlemen, which means automatically it was the easiest level ever designed. I've achieved absolutely nothing, but you know what? I feel like I've achieved something. It's a hole in N1 for Wahwah, and that has never happened before on the level for me, so I can be glad for that. Wrath of the Doge Lord. Goodness me, I'm not quite so sure about that name for a level. Now, because I quite like the super rare rarity, it hasn't come to my mind to change much for the de-restricted second stage. All I've done, actually, is put a Bahama in here in place of Cyberpunk because, as we could see, it got caught out and there was nothing I could do about it. A Bahama quicker. I don't have anything like Kamakura or whoever he or she or they are, but I have a Bahama. That is my fast damage unit, and so that is there hopefully for getting a big chip off whatever we find. Also, Jiangxi in place of Manic Mohawk. Reason being, it can survive the lethal strike and hopefully, as I like to do, cement our place in the battle and make sure that the big boss isn't moving forward. Whether that will practically work, I'm beginning to doubt, but we'll have to see. The Manic Mohawk certainly died quickly, so if this dies quickly as well, it's only a matter of additional expense. Past that, I thought it might be a little bit wholesome to do a bit of a no Uber run as a scouting form of this second level, so marvel at it. There is a boss shockwave, but it's just so quick that it doesn't really have any chance to affect anything. Wahwah is out immediately and already with a vengeance. A couple of those guys there also, but I assume what we'll be waiting for primarily is other stuff. It looks like the decision to keep Manic Macho legs in was a good idea because there's a mix of trolley bloggers and those guys in huge amounts. So let's just have them splatted and got rid of. And a Mr. Angel. Okay, so I'm already thinking things like ramen perhaps as another meat shield, although Maglev very well deals with that. Mr. Angel's really good for Maglev. They don't do enough damage to kill it in one hit as most things do, so instead they knock it back, which means an instant reflex attack that does even more damage to them. This really seems like peon spam, so if anything, Manic Macho Legs is certainly being kept. A Bahamut, perhaps not. It really looks like with the amount of stuff going on here, there is going to be no opportunity for an opportune snipe. I will try and use it anyway to get some use out of it here because we are really being swamped. There was an instant reflex attack for Bahamut as well, so I guess that's good on that front, but I'm thinking wave units, maybe our baby cat or something like that will be useful here. Maybe even Flying Carpet Man if we get desperate, but actually the thing is that, oh, we're getting really overrun. There was a damage knockback on Wahwah, which actually thinking about it now probably means absolutely nothing as we get completely melted into oblivion before we can find out huge amounts about the level. We now find out there are Croxos in addition to the other stuff, but not massive opportunity to keep going because it looks like when our defences are killed off here, we really are going to have no chance to build them up again, and that will be it as we are destroyed in a split second of peon meltage. Brollos as well. Good. Not good that they're there, but I'm glad I've lasted long enough to find that out. That is not good for Manic Macho Legs, and I suspect that that was done deliberately to create an annoying contradiction. Manic Macho Legs, I'm sure, is still going to be absolutely necessary for all of those peons, but we're going to have to be careful about the Brollos because our waves cause their instant reflex attack, and that does a lot more damage to us. Looking at what I had in place here, I am honestly surprised that we managed to get that far through our scouting attempt. So many of my units are actually single target, and there was so much stuff going there that I am amazed and very much proud of them for how well we did. But I have been doing some replacing of those such units and adding of waves. We've got our Cats in the Cradle in, that does waves. I forgot about Lorax himself. He can do waves, hopefully from a long enough range. range. And then behind it all, I hope, otherwise he's dead in an absolute instant, Ultraland the Ultraman, being able to subdue anything except for metal into a knockback and a freeze. Hopefully hugely useful for all this spam. Housewife was area. Seafarer was area. Manning Mash Your Legs, we said about keeping, and on balance I think is definitely necessary to keep. For the Brollos, and because I like Evangelion, we've got Plug Suit Mary in there, an anti-floating that, having used her on floor 37, I know is actually a bit of a dark horse and is really very good. Green Shellcat, first opportunity to try that out. Hopefully it will withstand stuff for a little while. Honestly don't know how long that will be, but I guess we'll be able to find out its virtues here. As I said about Ramen, that has now replaced Jiangshi. I should think with all these waves 2 meat shields are still about right. I guess Zamboni True Form will act as a supplement to that. So this is my new world order. Let's go and implement it. And probably Slow Beam too. Quite differently to the other levels, I don't actually think that Rich Cat or Sniper Cat will be very useful here. There's so many peons, we're going to be able to build up our Worker Cat off of that. And because there are so many peons, is Sniper Cat, a single target thing, ever really going to have that much of a difference to make? Probably not, no. Oh, look at that green shell then, I like that. Oh, it goes upside down, oh, it's got little wheels, that's adorable. Oh, there's a little boy inside it. Let's establish some form of waves then. Grandmaster, you try it. You see what you can do. Actually, thinking about my peon placement, it's a little bit weird to have my more regular meat shield in terms of recharge time in the second position, but let's just work with that and see what we can do. Let's establish some more waves in that confusion. I wasn't even looking to see how Green Shell did. Let's monitor its progress there and see how long it lasts. Yeah, looks like it lasted for a fair amount of time, actually, considering all the stuff we've got round here. We've got a level 6 Worker Cat, which is alright. Oh, crikey, okay, that was less alright. All the stuff that's going on there. Oh, the reds. I forgot about the snatches. There's so many of them. Can we melt them with Ultraland before they destroy our base? Well, partly, slightly perhaps, but then Wahwah becomes the real issue of the day. That's sniping the base from all the way over there. We need to move forward somehow. Unfortunately, it actually looks like Hermit doesn't have the range it needs. It gets outranged by Wahwah. There was absolutely loads of wave action from him there, and that's fantastic, but if he's going to die to Wahwah, that's certainly less fantastic. Let's see how Mary holds up now against these Brollos, which are just causing so much trouble, even though they were dead quickly. It's really, really hard to keep track of what is going on whilst everything is getting so decimated. And I'm actually quite sad to say I think that might have been worse. Something I was considering putting in the strap but must have completely forgotten about as I was placing it together was Cyborg Cat, the strongest and most independent unit we can surely think of. Of great rapport when it comes to destroying stuff in huge spam amounts when you got loads of money from that spam. As well as that, I got rid of Hermit, unfortunately, although its waves were lovely, it got outranged, and so that just doesn't make it a practical investment, I should think. So Jiangshi has come back in. Can't really evaluate whether that will be a brilliant help, but surviving a lethal strike, I hope it will be. Then Eye Patch Asker, because area attack and anti-red, and apparently also might knock back. I thought it might have been guaranteed, but it isn't. But with the amount of attacks that might go on, if she doesn't die, hopefully that will be alright. I wonder if Housewife is still a sound investment in case zombies do come along later, and I'm tempted to think that it is. I did say about items, but there is one item I am quite tempted to use. Right, there are loads of angel enemies now, so we'll keep Ramen coming along, because after that, actually, there aren't many angel enemies at all, which made me think about evaluating Ramen, but it will certainly be useful in this context, if not others. Let's have Cyborg there as well. Slow the incoming mass. Try and upgrade the Worker Cat, because we will need it level 8 for obvious CPU-related reasons. And Cyborg, do your nice, lovely area of attack damage, loads of which there will be because of your number of plus levels. Let's keep that going and have you not dying, because I do not want to get overrun before the CPU starts. That would really be quite demoralising. And as I say it, very pleadingly, it annoyingly looks like what might happen. Right, I'm going to supplement you, CPU, but primarily I want you to actually start doing something and make your item worth. Please? The fact is we're actually just getting sniped, staying exactly where we are. CPU has decided to go for Ultraman, the Ultralan, and now it's just going to spam whatever it can now, I guess, and it will spam to the limit, right? But if we just get decimated now, there's absolutely no use in that whatsoever. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. Too little, too late, CPU. Well, after that really disappointing run, I've bitten the bullet and put the Rich Cat on anyway. Technically, we didn't need it. Technically, it worked. Technically, we did get our worker cat to max and managed to turn the CPU on, but we were just left in a stalemate in which Wahwah won anyway because he was really far back and managed to snipe the base regardless. So we're going to have the upper hand this time, one hopes, and start earlier. For example, now. Heck. I've got Green Shell back in the hope of having some good form of strong meat shielding now and then. I've added in Pizza Cat because it's known for a huge area of effect attack. If it can get one off, great for a huge amount of peons like these. Worryingly, Ultraman has been hit a few times now, so I wonder how long he'll actually last for. Also worryingly, I thought with this amount of peons we wouldn't need to worry about monies, but actually that's not true either. So everything I rather hoped would be the case is certainly not the case, and everything's a bit rubbish. Wow, I mean, even at that rubbish point, I wasn't expecting it to be that quick. That is shocking. Because what happened before was such a massive disappointment, I have gone back to the original thinking, which is actually quite a sad thought, to think that I actually do better when I am not trying to be strategic, and thought that perhaps, maybe, for some really strange reason, not anything to do with the Brollos, waves are bad? I don't understand how that is possible in this stage, but maybe it's true. So what I've done is I've decked out the top with Sister Act and Moby Dick. That gives us our dual islands. Islands were tanky before, and I think that's part of it. I focus so much on getting waves around that I forgot that Wahwah is constantly attacking everything. You need things that survive or that outrange it. Speaking of outranging it, Subaru. Huge range, decent area of effect. Jace introduced me to valuing Subaru, and I'm going to give him a chance here to be excellent and valued. Tanky, Jamira, of course. He's not going to get knocked back until it's his dying hit. And hopefully, because he does indeed have area attack, yes, good, he will defeat a clump of enemies at once. And I've kept the meat shields the same in the hope that something good comes out of that. And the money management should work because of the Sister Act combo, and that's why I'm going to have a CPU on as well. That cat CPU's pretty keen on Neneko. No waves at all this time, not even Manic Macho legs, so I'll just start off with Island Jamira, some stuff like that. Not in a strategic sense, just in a more sort of I don't really know quite what I'm aiming to do kind of sense. Oh, so Jamira does get knocked back in that sort of very vague kind of sense, which isn't immediately great. I'm not sure if that means he'll be able to launch an attack. Well, he got one there and just completely floored the Mr. Angels, which is what we need. Subaru is now at the base, and I'm going to put the CPU on and gradually let it start building stuff up. Hopefully, no, okay, Subaru, wow, Subaru's really getting hit, so that's immediately bad. I thought this was going to be the turnaround. I thought, yes, this is where I finally figure what's been going wrong and absolutely ace it. But no, I don't think that is what's going to happen. We're just going to get our base sniped again. That is truly extraordinary. I think it is so bad that I cannot actually bring myself to feel angry about it. It was alright, it got worse. Sunk cost fallacy, thinking, you know what, let's go back to it and hope it gets better again. No, it just gets worse. Well, it's a fairly old adage by now that we have a decent run and it actually only gets worse from there, so what's the point of carrying on? Unfortunately, in this case, the best run was actually the unsighted first attempt, which caught me off guard by the end because I discounted it as couldn't possibly be the best run, because we try it out, then it gets good, and then it gets really bad. But this has bucked the trend, although not in a particularly good way. So perhaps that should be a lesson for us to learn from. Quit while you're not ahead technically because you didn't beat the level, but quit while you're nearly there and just be happy that you did nearly get there. Perhaps as a form of the sunk cost fallacy, because if you've achieved something you didn't expect to, be happy with what you've managed there. Going forward and trying to achieve more might be testing your luck so far that you end up being a bit miserable by the end of the process because it didn't work out. In any case, I can feel even now, possibly because of my own unhappiness at this, some unhappiness brewing within you. So some kind words of advice. Please don't take any kind of aggressive tone, partly because I will certainly take action on that, and more importantly, because it's actually nice to be polite and kind to people. But I'm sure as respectable human beings, you will, of course, be nice, polite, and constructive if you have advice to offer. But anyway, as I look upon the jovial atmosphere, rather more than miffed, I should probably try and find something that might make me a little bit happier. But happy, I hope, is what this video has at least somewhat made you. I'm alright with wasting my own time if it acts as a form of entertainment for you. And so, as I leave you in that vein, I bid you goodbye, and I hope you enjoyed.